So in 2015, we conduct our very first report card survey across the country. So the idea was to identify leadership gaps, area where we could improve leadership. So we had over 800 professionals in the country fill the survey back in our very first study. And in this study, we focused on investigating leaders' job performance, satisfaction, trust, and also engagement, as well as their quality of work-life balance and working culture. So we repeat the same study here earlier in 2017, and we had over 1,200 professionals in the US participating in our study. So as you can see, the demographics reflect a high-level group of communication professionals participating in our study. 3/4 of participants were the number 1 or number 2 in their organization. And also 90% had more than 10 years of experience working in the industry. And also a bit more than half were female, and the majority came from public and private corporations. Many respondents said they have belonged to professional associations such as PRSA, IABC, the Page Society, and the Seminar. And also at the same time, we had over 45% of respondents indicate they do not belong to any professional associations.
Well, the grades are in for 2017, and overall they're disappointing. We found no improvement, and in fact grades in 3 areas declined a bit. Organizational culture, job engagement, and job satisfaction all slipped. Overall, we're looking at a C+ for leadership in public relations. Now, in this survey, we sought to answer 5 questions. This is the essence of the survey. First, how are PR leaders performing on the job through their eyes and the eyes of their employees? To what extent are they engaged in work? To what extent do they trust their organization? What's the relative quality of the organizational culture in which they work, and how satisfied are they with their jobs? Let's take a closer look at each of the 5 areas.
So the first area is leadership performance that we ask them to assess. We have a split grade in job performance because leaders and their employees' perceptions of performance differ sharply. We found a huge gap. This is the same grade as in 2015, our very first survey. Top leaders gave themselves an A-, while employees gave their top leaders a C+. Now, leaders often rate their own performance higher, but the gap here is huge statistically and also in actual. Leaders were rated on the 6 dimensions, including self-insights, ethical orientation, strategic decision-making, team leadership capabilities, relationship management, and also communication knowledge management. Employees gave leader high marks for ethical orientation and also involvement in strategic decision-making, but grades for visioning, such as self-insights and also team leadership capabilities, are low. Overall, men rate top leaders somewhat higher than women, but the overall grades for male and female top leaders were virtually the same. Agency professionals rated themselves higher and the private corporate the lowest.
We used Gallops' engagement survey, which breaks respondents into 3 categories: engaged employees, give greater discretionary effort, they bring a lot of passion to work, and they feel strong identity or identification with the organization they're in. Not engaged employees do just enough to get by. They show up, but they don't bring a lot of energy or passion to work. Disengaged employees can actually harm or weaken the organization if they act out their unhappiness. Well, the grade here fell from a B+ in 2015 to a B- this year because the number of engaged professionals dropped by about 3 points. And while nearly 3/4 of top leaders were engaged, only about half of their employees were engaged. The decline is tied largely to declining scores in engagement for women in the field. In 2015, more women, 61.3%, were engaged than men, 57.9%. But in 2017, more men, 62.1%, were engaged than women, 52.9%. In the non-top group, top leader group of women, fewer than half were engaged in work, and nearly 1 in 10 was actively disengaged from the organization.
We also asked about their trust in their organization. So the trust score was virtually the same as in 2015, a C+. 6 items were assessed, and highest trust marks were given to 2 areas. Number 1 is the organization's skills and ability to accomplish goals. Number 2 is compete successfully in the global marketplace. So lower marks were given to 2 other different areas. The first one is trusting the organization to keep its promises to employees. And the second one is to value employees when big decisions were being made. So trust level in general among women was significantly lower, especially for considering taking employee opinions into account when making decisions, and also concerning about the employee when big decision was made. So trust levels were highest in agencies and the same lowest in private corporations.
Organizational culture here refers to the internal environment, processes, and structures that may help or hinder communication in and from the organization. The grade fell from a B- to a C+. The CEO's valuing and understanding of public relations was rated significantly higher than that of other organizational leaders. Okay? Other cultural elements like shared decision-making, two-way communication, diversity were graded much lower in culture. Women rated all cultural elements lower than men, and shared decision-making received one of the lowest scores in the survey by women. Culture was rated highest in agencies, lowest in private companies.
So lastly, about the job satisfaction. Well, it fell from a B- in 2015 to a C+ in 2017. So the percentage of those who were satisfied or extremely satisfied declined nearly 5 points among surveyed respondents. So more men, about 65.9%, than women, about 58%, were satisfied or very satisfied about their job. More than 1/4 for women, close to 30%, were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied about their job, an issue across all types of organizations that we surveyed. Satisfaction was highest in nonprofits, good news, lowest in private corporations, bad news. So job satisfaction is directly influenced by trust engagement and mediated indirectly by leaders and cultures.